Follow down a few lines later, the reference, she did not pass her off as someone who worked with her. That's something that Mr. Davis told you.
Yes, sir.
And 3 lines down, Gloria never represented her, Ms. Marinova, to be an employee, an associate, or anything of hers. That's what Mr. Davis told you.
Yes, sir.
The notes about where the interview took place, whether Jones was handcuffed or not, that the room was observed through mirrored doors, these were all things that you had access to prison sources who could have independently verified and confirmed this information, even if it hadn't come to you first from Ms. Davis, right?
This was just Mr. Davis's side, Representative Fox's side of the story.
I'm asking you simply, Ms.
We trusted you. We put out a helping hand. Only in return, we get a stabbing in the back.
Let's move to the second page of your typewritten notes. You tell me when you're there. Yes. And these, I think you talked about with Mr. Biagietti yesterday, were notes of your conversation with Ms. Gloria Fox's lawyer. And you would agree that these notes confirm that Mr. Davis told you that Mel King asked Gloria Fox to go out to Old Colony and talk to Jones to get the story?
Correct.
And told you that Mel King was the one who requested this lady, being Gloria Fox, being Joanna Marinova, go along to help take notes? What he told you?
It appears to say also ask this lady that she go along with to help take notes on it.
Right, and he was referring to Mel King, right? It's part of the same sentence.
It may very well be.
Okay. And if you follow down a few lines later, the reference, she did not pass her off as someone who worked with her. That's something that Mr. Davis told you.
Yes, sir.
And 3 lines down, Gloria never represented her, Ms. Marinova, to be an employee, an associate, or anything of hers. That's what Mr. Davis told you.
Yes, sir.
And if you move down further, this interview, are you with me? That's probably 10, 12 lines down.
Yes.
Says, Mr. Davis told you this interview took place in a small room which Gloria did not have hand-to-hand contact with this guy. What he told you.
Yes, sir.
And 2 lines down, Jones was handcuffed behind his back for entire process. That's what he told you. Next line, the room that was observed through had mirrored doors. They were seen at all times. That's what Mr. Davis told you.
Yes.
And all of those things was information that you corroborated with your sources, yes?
I did go back to my sources to talk about this information.
Well, you certainly had access to them to corroborate it either before or after, right?
Well, I didn't have the benefit of Representative Fox's side of the story until I spoke with her lawyer over the phone on this case.
Okay. The notes about where the interview took place, whether Jones was handcuffed or not, that the room was observed through mirrored doors, these were all things that you had access to prison sources who could have independently verified and confirmed this information, even if it hadn't come to you first from Ms. Davis, right?
This was just Mr. Davis's side, Representative Fox's side of the story.
I'm asking you simply, Ms. Van Sack, these details about what happened at this visit, those were details that you could have sought out from your prison sources, correct?
Yes.
Now, let's flip to the next page. On the first page of Trial Exhibit 90, you got from the Press Pass TV website. You might have, you just don't know.
That's correct.
And your notes don't reflect your recording of Ms. Marinova's email address from Press Pass TV's website?
No, and my understanding sitting here today that her email address was not on Press Pass TV's website at that point.
Well, how would you know if you didn't go to Press Pass TV's website or don't know if you went to Press Pass TV's website?
Because a couple of days ago, we looked at the Wayback Machine online and looked at the Internet Archive of what that site was like around that time. And her email address was not on it.
Oh, so it wasn't listed, her email address wasn't identified where if someone wanted to apply for an internship, they could?
No, sir.
Well,
From what I saw on the Internet Archive that we looked up the other day with my attorney.
did you look up the section where one could apply for an internship at Press Pass TV?
I'm not sure.
Now, you thought it was okay to call her on her office phone, right? You didn't think that was too invasive?
That's right. But I didn't want to continually bother her at work.
And it wasn't too invasive to send her a message over Facebook?
No.
And it wasn't too invasive to leave a detailed note, which you had no copy of, outside of her multi-unit building, right?
I'm sure it had her name on it very clearly when it was addressed to her.
Okay, but you knew it was a multi-unit building, and you were leaving the note in a public space?
Well, like mail, yes.
Well, you could see there were mailboxes, right?
Yes, sir.
And did you testify under oath that you may have left that note in the mailbox?
I may have left it somewhere near the door, on the door, in the mailbox. I don't recall. Having seen the, if I may continue to be responsive, having seen the picture of her mailbox recently, it did refresh my memory that there's a spot where you can put mail into.
Okay, but you do agree 3 years ago when your deposition was taken, you said nothing about a mailbox, right?
Correct. I didn't have the benefit of the photos of that.
And you have no memory of leaving a note in a mailbox, do you?
Correct.
Now,
Ms. Van Sack, what does bagged mean to you? What is that phrase? Do you have a comment on what bagged means in a professional capacity? Ma'am? Just curious, gentlemen, what does bagged mean to you guys in a professional capacity as journalists? What does that term connote or denote? Either one. Bagged? You know, I've written for major press, and when I say bagged, it usually means that somebody's, in definite trouble for something, and I'm just curious as to what... You guys have any comments? Councilor Biagietti, what does the word bagged mean to you in a professional context? I've worked for major press, and I know when I use the word bagged, that usually connotes something pretty serious, right? Right? Sorry, Councilor, was there something funny? Councilor? I'm sorry, was there something humorous about my question? About the connotation and denotation of the word bagged?